In this lesson, we're going to introduce a series of techniques for optimizing the network traffic between your client and the Couchbase server by touching multiple documents or perhaps sub-documents within a single request. Well, first, do you need to do things one document at a time with Couchbase? No. The most fundamental level are core bucket operations: get, insert, upsert, replace, and remove, all accept either a single document ID or an array of IDs. So if you wanted to interact with multiple documents in a single request, perhaps as a get, well, that's straightforward enough. Get an array. You'd find that Slim has a syntax to support n number of parameters within a single route. Those parameters could then be exploded across their individual values, and then use relevant PHP to prepend your document type to each one of those and pass the resulting array to the get method. What you'll get back is a single document of a corresponding number of JSON objects, which you can then parse as appropriate in your client code. Another way to optimize performance over the wire between your client and Couchbase is to work with the Couchbase subdocument API. It allows you to touch less than an entire document and pass it over the wire. There are methods lookup in and mutate in that allow you to identify subsections within documents and make changes just within those sections without having to migrate the entire document over the wire. This API has been abstracted for you into our Data Structures API. With this API, you could create, for example, a map, a set of key-value pairs or an associative array, and then add, remove, get, or determine the number of items within the map as appropriate. You could work with a list, a set of sequential values, or an indexed array. With this, you can push, shift, remove, set, get, and check the size. There's also a queue, which is a list that expresses first in, first out semantics, as well as a set, a list that enforces unique values. Now, this abstracted API manages the persistence for you. You just work with the objects. You let the SDK and Couchbase take care of all of the over-the-wire traffic. These structures are implicitly created for you if they don't exist the first time you add or push an item into the map or the list. So what have we learned here? Well, first, the core bucket methods get, insert, upsert, replace, and remove all support arrays. Beyond that, the SDK also supports persistence-managed data structures: map, list, queue, and set. They're created if they don't exist as soon as you name and add an item to the corresponding object. These rely on the lower-level subdocument API, which you could also choose to use directly. In the lab for this lesson, we're going to have you read multiple documents specified via the route, and then optionally modify your persistence to use the map data structure rather than direct document persistence, the way that we've been doing so far. When you're done with that, come on back. There's more to come.